Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi,
Hello,
Megan.
hello.
Hello, hello. So we're back from outer space.
Back in the saddle again.
That's right. So,
So, hello to everybody that's joined us today. We're
Mhm.
excited that you took a moment of your time to sit down and listen to us, just, shooting the breeze and sharing our wisdom and our fun and our personalities and the things that we like to talk about.
Yes. So thank you, Megan, and thank you for being here. Megan and I, we love to deep dive into certain topics, and we think that are helping people to empower, first of all, empower ourselves and share. That's really what we're about here. And we want to kind of build, in a way, a community, but very naturally, the way if you feel an attraction, if you feel a resonance, we continue. If not, it's okay. We move on. So we're not like here to market stuff to you, okay? Because we're both like, you know, free agents here. And we talk often about Christ, which is, or you can say Jesus, Yeshua, different names for um, the teacher, basically that. So today we're going to talk about this, and I just want to let you guys all know that we're not, we don't edit things. We don't even know how to do that. So we're really going with the flow of what is coming through for us and how we want to share, and we're just as surprised sometimes about things we that come through and talk about. So we think, it's freestyle. So this is something that you can that you can know it's fully authentic and the way we want it to be. So Megan,
Yes, ma'am. We like our
my
Christos rap time, freestyle rap time.
yo,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. So, okay. So when we talk about the Christ, a lot of people, and it doesn't matter, it's not here nor there, but in my personal experience, the Christ is the Christos, or it's not just one being. There's many teachers in that consciousness within the beautiful God, which to me is the great omniscient dimension of radical, beautiful intelligence that we are and that we carry and that we're a part of, and it's our divinity. And we have these archetypes or these teachers, and however they come to you or however you relate to them is what some would say, what I feel is an emanation of God. So teaching you in a way that you're comfortable, in a way that you're familiar, in a way that feels comfortable in your body for you. We all have different cultures and upbringings and belief systems. And so I would encourage you to keep that in mind. So if I share something that doesn't resonate with you, that's okay, because we're all doing our very own thing and we're discovering how massive consciousness is, how beautiful it is, and how much there is to embrace and embody and learn and share about.
Yeah, that's what I love, because to me that's what it is. It's the Christ consciousness. It's the awareness that what he was teaching, or what the teachings are about, because we can also take he, or the being that we often visualize as Jesus, right? Either because some people say he existed, others say he didn't. It's really, when you look at the teachings themselves and you start to decipher all that, it's true that there were beings before, like Krishna and other that it's exact same story. We have I don't know it all off the top of my head, but I just feel that the teachings themselves were telling us what we were talking about, that Christ is within you, God is within you, the Father, the creator. And again, I think we have to take out even that, the Father, he, him, whatever, and say that divine intelligence that creates all that, from where we come from, and that we're a part of, and that is an integral part of us. And Christ, crystalline, crystal, crystals hold memories, our computers, everything's created with crystals, and we have crystals within ourselves too. So this I find fascinating, where we start to connect even the word Christ with crystal. and becoming something like turning ourselves into into those Christ beings, into those. And I think we're in those times where we're realizing, wow, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We're the ones that are activating all this consciousness and awareness of who and what we actually are. So it's just an amazing time I find to be alive. Yes, there's a lot going on, the chaos but that could also be the pressure that creates, from carbon to a diamond, or, it's part of the experience of us. So that's something from my perspective of what Christ and crystal and the word itself, and that I've been playing around with in my own creative sense of Christ and crystals. And yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, words can, in so many different, you look at the way that things are said in Greek or, Arabic or English, they can have different translations and different definitions. And so, whether Christ was real or not in your opinion, in anyone's opinion or belief, um, for me, it's about what does it represent to you?
Mhm.
These archetypes or these energies that you're experiencing, what do they represent to you, and how do you apply them within yourself, and how do you demonstrate them as a soul and as a human being within yourself? So let's say hypothetically he's not real, it was a made up archetype. Well, what he stood for or what he was represented as through Christianity are some very beautiful characteristics. So that's what I'm speaking about more, is like the characteristics of what these archetypes represent to you. We don't have to get into like the he's real, he's not, or that's not accurate and this is. It's like, but what about these characteristics that you're so fond of? What do those mean to you? And how are you embracing those and applying those to yourself and then projecting it out to the world?
Yeah, that's at the base of everything, I think, is how are you using the information, or that Christ was about, or this consciousness, how are you living it? Because that's really what even it's all about. It's like, how are you walking the walk, talking the talk, the compassion and the seeing brothers and sisterly love, and the humanity of how interconnected we are, and also how God the Father is like, you can't have one without the other. So you have to know yourself as that God being, and how divine you are, and how perfect, and the more you see that and believe it, and then at some point you know it, because everything is being reflected back to you saying that yes, it's true, you are what you say you are, and the heart consciousness. So using, for me, sun heart is some experience that I had where I literally merged with everything. I became one with everything. And they say, if you can't see God in all, you can't see God at all. So, and then the quantum physics and the science that shows us that everything is, photonic particles of light, and then it condenses into a form and takes a form, but it's ultimately just like Wi-Fi isn't there, and yet the energy is all there. It's passing. We have waves of information, but it's the interconnectedness of it all. That's how I'm seeing the Christ conscious awareness. And Yogananda also spoke about all this, that Christ was actually just pure consciousness, pure awareness, that you are one and all with all, and there's no separation anymore. So then life changes completely, because you don't see the other as the other. You see the other as self, as another version of God, as another creation, as another. And so you respect all of life. You respect everyone. But again, it all starts from within ourselves. So that's, it seems like we're always repeating a bit, but it's in our
Yeah,
own way.
no, it's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And my beloved, sweet dog is agreeing with you back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
Um, I 100% agree. And I think the beauty of it is it's you stated that you had this experience where you could feel that you were a part of everything, and that is such a magical experience to feel because I think that's ultimately us, the all, right? I've also had several amazing moments like that myself,
Mhm.
where I didn't feel separate. In fact, I didn't even feel like m me as a person. I felt like I was everything. Like I could feel
Mhm.
it was so, it was like this beautiful wave. It was like a heartbeat, honestly. It felt like a heartbeat of waves, and it was wave, it felt orgasmic. I'm going to say it like that.
Mhm.
It is like this wave that doesn't quit. And it was, there was nothing wrong. There was nothing judged. There was nothing painful. There was just, but the movement was so fast. It wasn't like this slow moving thing. It was very fast for me. And it was like, I felt like I could swim, literally swim in and out of things that I was experiencing that were part of the all.
Mhm.
So, which to me, I was like, geez, and it wasn't even like a thought, it would just happen really, really quickly. I could feel masculine energies. I could feel feminine energies. I could feel nature. I could feel the elementals. I could feel like galactic, if you will, and know that I am a part of all of that. So how does that? Okay, so how do I incorporate that in my daily life? Well, I'm going to go back to Jesus or Yeshua as an example, but like my Jesus is hilarious, comical, serious,
Mhm.
loving, quiet, listens, speaks, embraces. It's all of these beautiful characteristics that he represents to me and that literally I feel within myself.
Mhm.
And it's a reminder of when I engage with people, I feel those energies through them too. I feel those characteristics through them too. I can feel their hurt and their suffering and their pain. I can feel their joy and their elation and their frustration, their anger. These are emotions, these are emotions, a part of the emotional body. And then, we have our, it's all integrated together. So, ultimately, I guess what I'm trying to articulate is that to not be so hard on yourself to achieve or want to achieve to be someone else. You want to be you. You're
Mhm.
here, you have your own personal blueprint, your own steps that you're making in the sand, the footprints in the sand of life, and you get to decide how you want to do that in this world. And these amazing archetypes are showing us so many ways that we can do that.
Mhm.
That's what he represents to me. Not just him, but all of them, you
Mhm.
know, whether it's Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, if you want to talk about the angelics, to me, they're all just faces of God, faces of faces of the great omniscient dimension that we are created from. Now, how that creation happens is beyond me, but what I'm here for it.
Yeah, definitely. You're here enjoying having the time of your life, as am I. And riding those waves, like you said, is just that's part of the flow of our experiences. So sometimes we can dip a little lower and sometimes, but the thing is you're still in that sine wave of beautiful flow versus like crashing down and then having to build yourself back up from a very deep and dark place, which I also have in my past experiences, but these are places where something, some energy, some force is there supporting, and so you're never alone. And I think this thing of walking with Christ or having the Christ within or these
Yeah.
angelic orbs of light beings that are part of like our star family, I call them my star family. They are assisting us. And anyways, again, is that really happening, or is it all me, my mind projecting? Because this is a whole thing. If everything is within us and we are the creators, this is something that we're still kind of playing around with, is how much of it is, it's true. It's definitely true for me because I've experienced those things. However, now I'm realizing, because of my belief systems and the way our minds work with, subconscious, and then now the super conscious is like it's activating more and more, which then there's no separation anymore with Christ and you. And it's like you're one with it. You're one with, like, the law of one teaches us that we are one. Now, within that, you still have to be a solid, or a solid, I mean, you have to have created your essence, like we're talking about. Your blueprint has to come online, your original blueprint. This is something that's fascinating as well, because I've been doing this thing that's coming through, saying who I am before inception of the deception. So the deception is everything that was created around your authentic self, around your true blueprint. And as you release the layers and layers of programming, of cultural conditioning, of all these things that give you a personality, give you a sense of, you have a passport and you have a name and you have all these things that, your human avatar needs to walk around and take a plane. And but that's a construct. That all those things are constructs that, and then we ultimately, our souls are, you know, eternal, and that blueprint is an original. And yet, if we start to reveal, it's like revelation, we're revealing ourselves to ourselves as these Christ beings, as these, and that's what the teachings really go deep into, when you really start to decipher outside of the religious kind of, because then there's a separation. There was a priest, there was everything separate. It's like that being was way above you, when Christ is saying, no, no, it's all within you. What I can do, you will do, and even more when those times of revelation come through. So I believe that we are in those times right now, and that it's spreading, like, and we're reaching a certain tipping point where we're going into another, and I don't even know, again, that's the mystery of our reality, and each soul having their own experience. Because definitely when you look around, you're like, well, we're definitely not on the same frequency here. Like fear and division and war and all these things, to me, don't seem, but yet they're part of it. So that's where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep in my lane and doing my thing,
Yeah.
staying happy, staying centered, staying, filling my own vessel with that love and that crystalline frequency, which I can see. It's like a golden plasma crystalline, and I can bring that in, and I can activate myself into more and more of my original blueprint. And God knows what's going to happen. I don't know. But
Right.
I know that how I feel when I do that. And so I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And because the rest of the stuff that I've been deep diving and crashing my head into, and going into these crazy loops of, like, the dark and the forces, and it's like, okay, stop all that. That's in the past. That's like, do not contaminate the present moment with the past, because you're going to keep bringing in that crap. And
Yeah.
so there's a point where it's like, so tough love. Um, so yeah, that's what came to
Yeah. I love my imaginary friends. And I think that they're I'm just gonna say it. I love my imaginary friends, and I love the relationship that I created with my imaginary friends, and I love the life that I live because of myself, embracing those parts of myself and the teachings of what they share with me, and that I get to ultimately, it's, like one of the things that I shared with you a long time ago was Jesus said, I don't want anyone to bow down to me. I want you to walk side by side with me. Exactly like what I want to do with my girlfriends and, my spouse and my kiddos and nature, like I am one with them. I'm here for it, and they're here for me. And if they're not, and if you're not, you're not. It's not here nor there because I'm solid in myself. You know, I I feel really strong in my foundation. And it took some hard lessons to discover that, but they were great lessons for me. Again, it just reminded me of like, everything transcends. Everything keeps moving. You keep growing and evolving, and it's okay for you to change your perspective on things, and it's okay for you to invite more love and happiness and joy into your life. And, if you want to, in my present moment right now, there's nothing dark. I could look out and listen to social media or the news and see some atrocities. Sure,
Mhm.
sure. But that's not affecting me in my present moment. So I'm going to stay grounded into my foundation that I am right now and continue to be. And I'll embrace the strides and the steps as they come. And I think that's just part of, our human evolution, watching the unconscious break down outside of us. We can see it in a lot of aspects outside of us that we're, this unconsciousness is like breaking down and starting to open up and see things more clearly and question things, inquire more about the things that you are seeing. And is it helpful for you? Is it helping you in your life? Or can you look at the positive attributes that are unfolding from these things, regardless of who is in facilitating it, or the personality that's behind it, or the personality that's not behind it? Like, what are these things that are happening that are helping humanity grow and come together and be peaceful? Because sometimes there's a lot of chaos before peace ensues. I know that. I've experienced it myself. I felt like I was in the depths of hell
Yeah.
at times. And then you move through that, you grow through that, and you find your footing again. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when you see the darkness or you hear about stuff that like we both, it's like a layer of awakening of that of that darkness.
About that.
And yeah, and when you go through that, you start to resent even humanity and, say like, my God, I can't believe that there's these dark forces or people that are doing these things, and especially to children, which we've, mentioned, because what's happening, I feel, is like there's a big layer of that being revealed right now, where we perhaps had that revealed to us many, many years ago. But it's like, what can I do about that? I'm not involved in that. That's not my karma. That's not me to deal with. However, I'm aware of it, and perhaps I can bring more awareness about it. But now
Yeah.
the collective, I think, is ready to deal with the darkness and to actually put it in its place, which is not in the world that we want to be part of. And once we decide as a collective that we don't want that, so first we choose that individually, and then it kind of ripples out and it becomes, because we are one. This is the thing with consciousness, is there's no separation. So the fact that if you're praying for the best in the world to happen for all of humanity, and this is truly, truly your heart's desire and resonance and magnetism, and you're putting that out in the field, and then it's easier for others to download it or to access it, kind of like the cloud. So I feel sometimes like I was even here over and over again, back here on this planet, to be able to, because as a child I would love to pray for everybody to have clean water and food, and I think the basic needs of our humanity need to be addressed. Really, I fundamentally think that once your basic needs are met, you can go into those higher realms. And thankfully, we are in those positions ourselves. We have our basic needs met, and so we can be in the heart and above. But when you don't have those basic needs met, you are in survival, and survival is survival. I mean, let's face it. If you're hungry, you're going to go grab that food. But if you don't have money for it, you're going to take it. And that's considered stealing in our society. But there's a lot of these. structures that were put in place that are actually, yeah, not so great for a lot of humanity. And that's something that, in the larger scheme of things, we will be addressing, just like the ecological damage and the, but first of all, we have to look at the inner. So, because we can't change anything outside of us if we haven't healed and transmuted, transformed, into more and more of that, um, yeah, that divine essence that permeates all things. But unfortunately, well, I mean, fortunately, it's not fortunate or not, but it's just is what it is. But we come to that awareness that as one, we don't want others to suffer and we want everyone to have their needs met. And that's something that, as women, also, we bring life into this reality. And I think we feel such a awe-inspiring, like, wow, all this happened just through nature. This being was created inside of me through nature, and I brought it into this world. It's like there's nothing more miraculous than that. And yet, are we really truly honoring that? And are we honoring what it takes in our water, in our air, in our food to be able? So I think those big questions are starting finally to really take a big place on the stage of our human collective. So that one day, I already see it much, much later, the visualization of what is possible for humanity. And it's absolutely beautiful once we
Yeah.
connect all that. And that's my timeline. That's my reality. That's where I'm heading. So when
Yeah.
people say, I don't never want to reincarnate here and I never, it's like, well, let's wait and see, because if the best of humanity takes over now, we're not going to be in that reality anymore. And, as a collective, because each person will have, um, yeah, transmuted the darkness into a lightness of being, into an interconnected world where you wouldn't even think of polluting yourself or the world, because you're like, I love myself. I want organic food. I want,
Yeah.
like, but we were brainwashed or propagandized, if that's a word, into like the Industrial Revolution and it was all like a contrasting world to show us, yeah, we don't want that much plastic. Actually, nobody asked me, like we were born into it, but it's a reality. And so let's face it. And now let's transform that plastic into
Yeah.
beautiful things that we can recycle, and we can be so much smarter in every way, that intelligence. And I do have faith in our, I mean, look at these young people coming in, like, it's a beautiful world. And it's just like, let's have fun and enjoy now as much
Yeah.
as possible the rest of our God-given, spirit, breath, life.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, if you imagine that because we all are so interconnected and not always aware of it, and some not at all, which is, not here nor there. But if you could imagine that you could feel what you were putting out, if you could feel the things that you're saying and you could feel the things that people are saying to you, the world would be an entirely different place the way we would interact. Like we wouldn't want to inflict the pain on one another because we would be feeling and knowing like, oh shit, why am I doing that? And I think that that's what we're watching transpire now. But and that's part of the awareness that's, we're all waking up to, is like, how am I impacting this world? Not just on a physical level, but on an energetic level. And I think that I think it's important for us to recognize how we are being an active steward of the world and an active steward of children, the innocence, and not like and coming together for them, if not anything at all, the innocence within us and the innocence that is being born every single day. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And that's coming back again to our opening. Our topic for today is Christ and, the little baby Jesus. And I was walking with my daughter around Christmas and there were these like and she's like, oh, there's little baby Jesus. And, and it's like, it's a story. of like immaculate conception and all of that. And but in a way, it's like a code for us to decipher, but to go back into that innocence of, again, before inception of the deception of forgetting who we actually are, what we are, what Christ was talking about in the teachings of, love thy neighbor as yourself, because yourself is everything and everyone. And that can be difficult for us at this time in our, collective, because we're witnessing a lot of the chaos. But out of that chaos is how we will eventually find another balance. But chaos is just one part of the story as well, It's like, and even the creation of a star, a planet, or a person, we go through those epic journeys of transformation, and then finally find a certain balance or stability, but then it gets all over again, because like any movie or story, if you got everybody's in love and everybody's like peace, and perhaps that's what on some higher level, but then there's something about kind of going in and let's find out what it's like to feel separated from source,
Yeah,
and separated, let's just see what that's like. And it's like a story that unfolds, and it's like, here we are separate beings, and we believe that until we have those experiences that show us that no, actually that is not the truth, and here it is. But that's all been like a nightmare, or something that you wake up from, and you're like, wow, that was intense, that whole ride of of separation. But now I know that God and Christ is within me, and and so when we are in that reality, then it gets reflected, and then things get synchronistically aligned, and you feel divine. And it's but we keep reminding each other,
yeah,
because it's such an illusion is so well created that we can step back and fall back into it. But we're here to remind each other that we are these beautiful beings, and there's nothing to fear, nothing to fight. You know,
yeah,
it's that was all, again, kind of part of the dream spell that we could have been under, and that some are still within at this time. But mhm.
yes, yes, yes. So to
So
end this conversation,
yes.
um, what would be, let's see. Oh, I know what I want to share. I want to share a poem. May I?
Oh yes, I love poems.
Oh, me too. Okay. So this we'll end on this note. This
Yes.
will give you all something to reflect on. It's called, my son told me about this, The Man in the Glass. When you get what you want in your struggle for self and the world makes you king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't a man's father, mother, or wife whose judgment upon him must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in life is the man staring back in the glass. He's the fellow to please. Never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end. And you've passed your most dangerous, difficult test if the man in the glass is your friend. You can fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but the final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass.
Oh,
So be
full
good.
body goosebumps.
Be better, do better, love yourself, and love those around you.
Amen. Thank you so much for that. I love you.
I love you. Until next time, my
Until
beautiful
next
Sonia.
time, my beautiful me again. Me again. It's me again.
Mwah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.